Hello and welcome back to the X-Files Revisited. We are on to episode 16 of season 5 called Mind's Eye. Are we going to do a little guessing game, Brian?
Let's do it.
I was truly shocked with last week's Travellers.
Mm-hmm.
I would be a little bit more conservative with Mind's Eye and go for unlucky 113.
113. Okay, once again, you have estimated slightly high.
Oh.
It is 121.
That was close enough.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's get into it.
Yeah, I'm trying not to give anything away or say anything just now. So
it's not quite on the insult level as being worse than Dodd Khan. So
no.
Yeah. So yeah. Right. Okay. We kick off the episode with a woman coming home. She's played by Lily Tomlin. And yeah, she comes home and we very quickly start to kind of gather, at least I think anyway, even before so there's a reveal at the end of this opener where I feel like we've already figured it out before we've got there, which is the fact that this woman is blind.
Nope.
No. You're not? Oh, right. Okay. Right. Well, I thought it was pretty obvious in the way that she kind of puts the ashtray down and she kind of just the way she's moving, the way she kind of moves her hand, and then she like I'm not saying obvious in a like, oh, that's such a bad cliched performance, but just like she puts the ashtray down, she runs her hand along it, and then she smokes and she never kind of looks anywhere. She's always looking forward. So to me, I just thought, she's blind. But yeah, she sees a murder basically in her mind's eye. She has this vision, and we cut from there to police kind of arriving at this hotel, busting through, and they find her there, and she seems to be cleaning the place up. And then it's then that the police officer kind of goes, "Hey, buddy, come and check this freak out. Look, she's blind."
Yeah. At this point, I kind of realised the woman was blind. Once they point the fact out.
I just felt like the way they go about it is just it's a bit what's the word? Insensitive, shall we say? It's like she stood right there, pal. It's like, how about, hey, lady, are you blind? You know, like at least speak to her. You know, like she's there, like she's a person in the room.
Throw something and shout catch.
But instead, he just like talks to his partner. He's like, "Hey, you gotta come and see this. I think she's blind." And she stood right there, dude. Show a bit of sensitivity.
You're expecting the guy to turn up and go, "Ooh, gross." Yeah, they're just.
Yeah, but what do you think of that intro?
Really interesting. It put me in the frame of reference of The Eyes of Laura Mars immediately because of seeing the vision of the killer.
Yeah,
there's lots of things that, on reflection on this one, adds more to the episode. I would say, like you know, by the time you get to the end, you kind of understand why she's there cleaning up.
Yeah.
But at the moment, you're just kind of like really curious because I wasn't expecting her to be there. I was just expecting them to find a body and things. So it adds a good bit of intrigue into this as well. And having what I would say is a rather notable actress there as well, almost piqued my interest.
Yeah, and this was quite a get back in the day. Because like once we hit season 4, the show was on such. It was such a phenomenon, such a cultural phenomenon that you had a lot of like big name actors kind of literally reaching out and saying, "Look, anytime you want me on," you know. So we had Jodie Foster, like, you know, we had who else was it? We had another big name in season 4. I can't remember, but so yeah, Lily Tomlin kind of joins the crowd. But
Paper Hearts.
Yes, Tom Noonan. That was it.
Tom Noonan, yeah.
So it was, you know, it's quite a big get for a TV show. So because this is back in the days when movie stars tended to stay separate from TV stars. It was kind of seen as a
lesser.
Yeah, you were seen as like you were kind of demoting yourself if you went from movies to TV. But this was like probably the first TV show that had movie stars going, actually, you know what? Couldn't hurt my career to be in that.
Yeah.
To make an appearance in that. So, yeah. So past the opening credits, we have Mulder and Scully getting filled in by Detective Douchebag. Oh, sorry, Detective Pillock. Sorry, Detective Paddock, is it, or something? But
see, I wouldn't put this guy in those same groups with other crappy detectives. I think this guy genuinely is okay.
I don't. I think to some extent he's worse because he's not willing to do his due diligence. He goes for the most obvious kind of piece of evidence. It's like he just wants a case. He wants to tick the tally and say, yeah, solve that one. And it's like, hang on a minute, hang on. There are certain questions here, certain like serious doubts as to the competency of whether this woman could commit a murder. And it's just like you're willing to go all in and just say, yep, she did it. And now I want everything to point to it. So yeah, just because
he's an out the box thinker, Brian. He's already going sixth sense, sees like a bat. Like, and usually they're so demeaning of that.
But I feel like he's the swing. So if you've got Mulder in the middle, right?
Yeah.
Then at one end of the pendulum is douchebag sheriff who just comes in saying, "No, get out of my town. We have gambling and tourism here." And then you've got on the other end of the pendulum is this dude who's like, "Oh yeah, I believe in all kinds of phenomena and all that." But no, this woman did it. And it's just, I just feel like, calm down, Paul. Calm down a bit. Take your time. Don't be so eager to just convict.
See, I genuinely like him throughout the episode.
I'm not saying I don't like him. He's a warm and kind of fuzzy detective who's like he's likable, but I wouldn't trust him to work my case.
You wouldn't? Yeah, okay, that's fair enough.
You know, if I got accused of something, I'd be like, I want someone else. That's not the guy I want. So I'm pretty sure as well, this is the guy who was in Ghost in the Machine back in season 1. He played. Right. So there was a government guy who was trying to get the tech, and he pulls the gun on Scully, I think, towards the end because it's like he doesn't want them to put the virus in or something. But anyway, yeah, I'm pretty sure this is the same actor. So. So they go to see Marty, that's the blind woman, and she's got, right off the bat, she's got an attitude. She's just See, and I kind of like her. It's like, it's just, she's not out to make friends. She don't give a toss. She just wants to sit at home in a living room, listening to the TV, smoking her fags, not being bothered. And it's like, okay. She's just, she's not out to make friends. So they question her, but she's very evasive. And Mulder riles her up to the point that she literally just whacks a drink off the table. You can see Mulder here, like doing a lot of his profiling work. Because he reads her basically and just nails it. And that's why it riles her up, because literally everything he's just said is probably right. Which is that this hard exterior she puts on, it's all just an act to show people that she's independent, to show people that she doesn't need them, to show people that she can do things like without their help. So
and what does Mulder do? He instantly starts sympathizing her, telling her that she's innocent, he wants to help, like all the things that she just does not want. And it's almost like a different kind of Mulder, because he's tailoring his responses to the way that she is, which I really enjoyed, the kind of interplay between the two of them. Yeah.
Not normally Mulder can be quite douchey. Like we've seen that before, but he's also very sensitive. He's usually he's got a keen mind with regards to who is in the room and how to go about dealing with them. Not always. Like there's times when he's a bit too insensitive and he gets a bit too Mulder, but for the most part, when he's in profiler mindset, he can go into a room, read that room, and then go, okay, this is the approach I need to take with this one. So But yeah, detective says guilty. He's just like, yeah, she's guilty. She's our man. She's our woman. Mulder says she's just trying to show she's independent. So they give her a lie detector test, and you know, the history of lie detector tests on the X-Files has always been interesting.
No matter, I don't care where you are in your life or what you do, you know that they're not acceptable by law. They're not really reliable, like anybody, because you've seen it that many times. Like they're just
But it just takes me right back to Squeeze when Eugene Toombs is taking the lie detector test, and Mulder throws in the random ass question, and the guy's like, "I'd get a reaction from that question." So he said, yeah. So he does his old Toombs trick and throws in some random question, which is, "Did you see the murder?"
Yeah, it's the guy kind of throws out this ambiguous question, which has a little flick in the needle. So again, you see Mulder working it out.
Yeah.
I kind of like it. It's fun.
Yeah, and he's kind of writing the question for the examiner, and then Marty's just like, "Why don't you just ask me? I can hear you writing it. Just ask me yourself."
And then she's her answer to it's kind of funny as well, because she's like, "Did I see the murder?" Well, I can't actually see anything, so I guess the answer's no.
Scully and the detective go to the scene of the first murder, and they find gloves after a call from Mulder. So Mulder basically just calls while they're looking around the place. He just calls to say, she got a reaction. I threw in this question. She got a proper reaction. It's like, all right, I think we both know, Mulder, that proves nothing at this point.
I also love the fact that the detective said, like, I've had a team of people, we've been over that room countless times, and Scully just walks in and goes, "Yeah, there."
Oh man. She puts the I in FBI.
Yeah.
So it's at this point that Marty gets another vision. She's on her way home. She's been released, and not at this point. Sorry, she gets another vision in the cell. She uses a phone call. So she sees a woman in a bar being harassed by this guy, and she asks for her phone call. So she does a phone call. She gives some kind of some flack to the copper. He's just like, he's just kind of stood there.
I'm blind and you're denying me my aid.
Yeah. So on your bike, mate, kind of thing. So it's like every scene shows this woman's independence, shows that she's got a keen mind. So, so if she phones this bar, asks the barman to give the phone to this guy, and she says to him very directly, "Leave her alone. I'm watching you," which proper freaks him out, because now he's like, "Holy crap!" It's like, who's watching me? So Scully and the detective get back with the gloves, and it's like a Cinderella moment. They're fitting the gloves onto her hand. It's like, see, they fit. It's like, okay, good. It's like most pair of gloves would probably fit her, to be honest. It's like,
she's like a kind of smallish woman. So like,
yeah. So Mulder points out that Marty's pride for not taking benefits. So he's done some digging. She if she wanted to, she could reap the rewards of government benefits because of her disability, but she never has. She's fending for herself. She's like I say, she's still independent. And Mulder says she saw via a vision. So he's connecting the dots now. He thinks that she's seeing the killing in her mind's eye. And Scully says maybe she can actually see. So she comes up with this like a more of a psychological answer, maybe like a traumatic kind of she's got some kind of condition where, by all intents and purposes, she is blind psychologically, but physically, the parts do still work. So, yeah, that's that. We go to the guy from the bar.
Yeah.
And he has a phone call with a dealer. So basically, the person that he killed at the beginning, he stole drugs from that person, and now he's trying to fence them, basically.
What I kind of liked about this guy is he's not the usual X-Files villain. Like, he doesn't have weird tics. He doesn't have some strange abilities. He's just a bad guy, like just an everyday kind of guy who's just.
He's just a dick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's no standout like appearance things, no special abilities. He's just a bad guy.
Yeah. He's just a thug, basically, isn't he? He's getting by in life by just taking what he can when he can. Yeah. You got something I want? I'll take that. Thanks. So Marty has an eye test, but there's no reading. The guy basically says, no, she is blind, until rather conveniently, with regards to timing, it's like, thankfully she was in that machine at the time. Suddenly her pupils start dilating when she has this vision. So it's at that point that the district attorney comes in and says, look, kick her loose. Not helped by the fact that Mulder says he doesn't believe that she did it. He doesn't believe she's guilty. So you got the detective on one side going, no, help me out here. DA's like, look, unless you've got something concrete, you need to let her go. Mulder's like, yeah, I don't believe she did it. So it's like, right, let her go. Just release her. So he implies instead that she saw the murder in her mind's eye. So, which is, that's another thing that kind of frustrates me a little bit about the detective, is that at the beginning he was so eager to be all like, yeah, sixth sense kind of stuff. You know, he's like, he seemed willing to look for other possibilities. And now that Mulder's actually presenting one in which the facts line up to it better than his suggestion at any rate, he's all like, no, she's guilty. Come on. Throw the book at this woman. So, yeah, Marty leaves. Mulder watches. Scully says Marty's blood may have been on the gloves because they've found 2 lots of blood on the gloves. So she says, let's get that tested. Thankfully,
and like last week's episode, it's not.
I was going to say, thankfully, it won't take 6 to 8 weeks. So let's get this to toxicology. 6 to 8. Okay, so the vision leads Marty to a second victim. So I love how she just starts shouting in the street, like, "Where's this? I'm looking for such and such an alley," you know, and then she just runs across the road. This guy directs her, gets her across the road safely, tells her where it is, and then she's like, "Right, don't need you anymore, sod off."
Now, she asks, like, she's shouting in the street, "I need to get here," and he's the only one that stops. And as soon as he stops and says, like, 4 blocks down on your left or whatever, she instantly just turns and walks in the road. Now, I was like, is she walking in the road to get to where she's going, or is this like a ploy to get the guy to pretty much take her there because she's putting herself in danger?
I just see it as her kind of she's not waiting for anything. She needs to get there now. And if traffic has to stop for her, then it has to damn well stop for her, because that's very much in her character, isn't it? But based on what we've seen, it's like, look, I'm going to go my own way. You better either get out of my way, or you know.
But she also uses her blindness to her benefit when she can. Like, I need my phone call. I've got a disability, and you're holding me back. And in this way, she's like, if I walk out onto the road, I look as if I can't take care of myself. This guy's going to take me there quicker. So I think it's just maybe there. Possibly.
Maybe. I wouldn't dismiss that at all. So it's at this point that Marty's actions become even more confusing, which is that she turns herself in. she says she did it and that she wants to confess to both murders. So you're like, okay, this is bizarre because, like at the start, see what I thought it was, where I thought it was headed was that there was someone else that she cared about that she didn't want to, which in a way kind of is, but I felt like
I thought it was a close relation to her that she was protecting.
Yeah.
They wanted them to stop doing what they were doing, but it was something she wanted to protect.
Right. Okay.
Which it kind of is.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's not.
No. Yeah. Okay. So so she turns herself in. Then Mulder interviews her, and he confronts her with the truth. She refuses to retract her statement now. So he's like, look, I know what's going on. You can see the killer in your mind. You can see what they're doing. Help us. We need you. We need you to help us catch this guy. Which is very much in keeping with what I think is the theme of the show, which is the independence of this woman, the fact that she is her own person, and actually she's the only one who can help them. That's the thing. She's the one who has the disability. She's the one that's constantly in the dark, and yet she's the only one who can bring this thing to light. They need her more than she needs them. So we get another phone call with the killer and the dealer calls off the deal. He's basically, look, taking too much heat. Someone's informed us that we shouldn't be doing business with you. And he's like, what? No, damn it.
He's not happy.
No, that's all. So detective seems chuffed because he's, we got the confession. She's just like, I was right. Says they have motive, which is the drugs, and that she's told them where they can find them. Okay. Right, they go pick them up, and Mulder gets called skeptical,
which is just brilliant.
Man.
And not only does he get called skeptical, he feels really insulted by this as well.
He mutters under his breath, and he's like, skeptical.
He's been called lots of things, but
It's just the way he walks off. He's like, skeptical. It's like the worst thing you could call him. It's just,
I think that's what I liked about it most, that he was genuinely pissed off by that.
It reminds me of it was either Clyde Bruckman or it was one of the other Darren Morgan ones, where the stupendous yappy. It was Clyde Bruckman, because it's when he goes and there's been a murder and they go in there and they bring that psychic in, the stupendous yappy guy, and he looks at Mulder and he raises his eyebrow and he's like, he wants him out because he's like getting a bad energy off him, because he says he's
a non-believer.
He's a non-believer and all that. He's too skeptical. So it's like they're like the two times in the show where Mulder's been called skeptical and he's just like skeptical. So Scully calls to say that the blood on the gloves wasn't Marty's. As the police leave with the case, the killer watches. So the killer kind of is, presumably follows them. So I feel like we've gone from one extreme to the other. We had toxicology took 6 to 8 weeks in the 50s.
Yeah.
I feel like this time it's like really quick. Like I know they can do it a lot quicker these days, but this quick? Because this feels like it was done like in an afternoon. Like she sent them off.
I don't know. I don't know the time scale of these things. I don't know the time scale of the episode.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I wouldn't get hung up on it.
Yeah. Well, I know in legal circles they have come up with the term the CSI effect, which is that juries now expect way too much from law enforcement because of the picture that's been built in their head about their
Yeah.
capabilities through watching shows like CSI. So Mulder speaks to Marty in her cell, says the killer is the same man who killed her mother.
Yeah.
They know this because of the blood, the toxicology from the glove. She's had a psychic link with him ever since. Always sees what he sees, and so feels responsible. And that's when detective.
I kind of like this sequence because I found it was quite funny when Mulder's telling her the story of her birth. Because you always get an idea of people with like a visual impairment or something else where people are overly trying to help them, who think they're incapable.
Yeah.
He's just like, let me tell you about your birth and the story that happened there. It's just
but he's not telling it her in that vein.
no.
He's telling it her as in to say,
I know
what's happened. Like, you can't hide it from me. I know your story. This is your story. So come on. But there is that. I do like the picture that it builds there, that if she's seen through this guy's eyes for like 30 years, whatever, there is that thing where you take, like we were talking a couple of episodes ago, we talked about the red and the black with Spender and how he was told something for so long that he came to believe it. You know, don't be used that way. And I feel like that's a kind of a theme that's carried over here, in the sense that she hasn't just been told, she's seen from a first person kind of
but this isn't something I picked up on until like a little bit later in the episode.
Right, okay.
Because I'm taking into it baggage of other movies I've seen where I'm thinking she's only seeing dangerous situations.
Right, okay.
And it's not until later on where I get the revelation that she's seeing all the time. So just, you know, like, because like I said at the start, I'm thinking The Eyes of Laura Mars as soon as I go into it, where you see the killing happen, but other than that, everything's generally fine.
Yeah.
Which is what I was thinking here. Which the revelation is what makes this episode for me.
Yeah, definitely. So, Detective Pillock arrives to transfer Marty, and as they're taking her out, she sees herself through her killer's eyes, which such a great moment, because it's like the weight of that moment for her. That's the first time she's ever seen herself. She's seeing this complete stranger and having to get to grips with the fact that it's her. It'd be like, you'd almost be tempted to go, like, woo.
It's never having seen yourself and then slowly realizing that it's you in this situation, like not like seeing it straight away and going, well, what is he seeing now? And then, oh, that's me.
It just creates a visual that is very much, it's not just a visual, it's a psychological kind of, it's just really creative to get to that, to reach that point and go, oh, right, like, I mean, we've seen similar stuff in Laura Mars, but it's all about how you use it. Like, it's not an original idea. The way in which they use it in a really impactful way. And I think it's
let me ask you this little detail. Do you not think it's weird that where they've got this transport from jail to prison, the general public can just look on and see everything that's happening? Because you're just standing at the other side of a fence watching, like a prisoner being escorted. Like if there was some high-profile person, that people with paparazzi with cameras could just be taking pictures of them being dragged away.
I suppose, but
I mean, it doesn't impact the story whatsoever. I just thought that just seems.
Yeah, but in answer to that, paparazzi do that.
Yeah,
we've seen on the news people getting loaded into vans with bags over the head and stuff. You know, so I guess no is my answer to that one.
And also as well, when she's getting put in the van, like this is someone that just, I understand she can't see and she's blind and all that, but she gets fixated on a point and is almost reticent to look away from it.
Mm.
and nobody turns to go, oh, what's she looking at? Like,
Yeah.
I know. I just thought
Yeah.
somebody else would have looked up and seen this
Yeah.
guy.
Yeah.
It doesn't waste the episode. Doesn't.
No.
It's just
I feel like again, another answer that's not even necessary is that oftentimes people don't actually look at the person with the disability, which is something that can often piss people with the disability off. You think about people in wheelchairs. Oftentimes, people don't actually look at them when they're talking to them. They look at the person they're stood with and things like that. So I think they could miss something like that because they're just not looking her in the face, I guess. But Mulder goes to see Marty in prison. This it does seem to be like a never-ending sequence of scenes in which Mulder goes to see Marty in another cell of some description. But so Mulder goes to see Marty in prison, says they're releasing her. Apparently, the blood on the gloves belongs to a man named Charles Wesley Gotts. Because if you've got a killer, you have to give them 3 names.
yes, that's you understand that.
So Charles Wesley Gotts, his blood was on the gloves, and blood tests prove he is her father. Dun, dun, dun.
Which it wasn't a surprise.
No, not really. No. You kind of saw that on coming. Yeah. So they ask for her help, but that's not the real twist, is it? I think
no.
It's like it's like a red herring twist. It's like, oh, we're going to be doing an episode. It's all twisty and turny, and here's the big obvious. It's Sixth Sense, basically. Yeah. It's Sixth Sense, and I think that this was done before Sixth Sense. So it's that thing where you put a big twist in, and that's your big ending kind of thing. But then actually you've got another one. So like
which is better.
yeah. So Mulder and Scully are about to go. Oh, hang on. Yeah. Mulder and Scully are about to go into the bar where Gotts is going to be because they've asked for her help and she's apparently said yes. She's told them that Gotts will be at this bar. And when Mulder has a realization, because Scully, for some reason, Scully says like everything's changed or whatever. And then Mulder's like, oh, yeah, everything's changed. Everything's changed for Marty once Gotts was released from prison. So Gotts had been in prison for like most of Marty's life.
Yeah.
She was used to seeing the same thing day in, day out for 30 years, which was these 4 walls of a cell. That was what she was comfortable with. Yeah. So like as soon as this guy was released, her entire world was opened up, which would be scary, really scary. So Marty takes down Pillock and waits for Gotts. And then Mulder says if Gotts goes back to prison, so does she.
Yeah.
Until now, she's never had a choice. And it's then that you realize, okay, so she's like, I'd kind of sort of established at that point that like before then that she kind of always sees through his eyes. And that was when Mulder kind of mentioned it in the cell earlier, but it hadn't hit me what the impact of that would be.
Yeah.
So, all right, yeah. So she always sees through his eyes. It's only now when he kind of clearly states that Gotts was in prison, which meant she was in prison always. That's all she could ever see. So as soon as he was released, it's like she never had a choice in that. So, my thing, the thing I was going through was like, is Mulder saying there that she doesn't want to go back to prison? Like she can finally see the world because he's out in it. So does she
doesn't want, like, he's not going to change. He's doing these criminal activities. So sooner or later, he is going to go back and she's going to be stuck looking at these 4 walls. Where at least taking him out of the picture means that she has the memories of the world that she's seen and is not trapped in that visual nightmare.
Right. Okay.
I think.
Right. So you don't think it's because she wanted to go back to prison?
No. Okay. If she wanted to go back to prison, she would just let the police capture him.
Yeah.
I think she had the freedom of the real world, but was visually locked.
So until this guy started doing nefarious things, she was happy enough to just see through his eyes as he went around the world. And
yeah, but
So-
realised that when he was doing bad things, he had to be stopped.
yeah,
And the police were going to catch him at some point.
and that's
she
that's why she
that's
was
what-
reluctant to hand him in, and that's why she
Yeah.
kind of cleaned up.
That's
the
why
mess.
she was. Yeah, that's what really cleaned up the bit at the start for me, with why
Yeah.
she was trying to clean up the blood and all that. She's probably had the gloves as well, because she wants him to get away with this.
Yeah. And because the person that he'd killed was like a drug dealer. She kind of she reasoned that away in her mind, that okay, he's only killed a drug dealer. The moment he started going after women, that's when she's like, okay. So so Gotts goes into the apartment. He comes face to face with her. She's hiding behind a cabinet. She puts a gun right in his face and then says, "I hate the way you see me," and then blows his head off. Great.
I love this sequence because it draws out the tension of, again, it's not original. I've seen it before. It plays out mostly how I was expected. What I was really surprised with is how she is so decisive.
Yeah.
You know, she has a plan. She sticks to it. She completes it. She doesn't pause, falter, or do anything. She immediately shoots him in the head, which they never do. They want to give some big grandiose speech about why they're going to do it. Yeah.
And there's always some time for them to kind of like end up getting in a struggle, and then they lose the gun, and then they're in danger. It's like, no, she's just like, hate the way you see me.
Bang. Yep.
Bang. Yeah. So Mulder and Scully arrive as Pillock arrests Marty. And he's all like, "She did this one." It's like he just wants to arrest this woman. He's just happy either way. It doesn't matter that she's taken down this killer. It's like, oh man. So final time, Mulder goes to see Marty in her cell. So she talks about how she's been to see the sea, not physically, but like through the eyes of her dad. And Mulder's like, "Good job he wasn't a fan of the ice capades." Always has to crack a joke. But yeah, they have a nice little handhold. There's a clearly a mutual respect there, a connection between the two, which is quite nice. And yeah, they just say goodbye, and it's just this notion that actually, she's still got those memories, but she's willing to go to prison.
I love the idea. It's this that captured my imagination. Of she would rather be incarcerated in a cell and not be able to see it than be out in the real world and be visually trapped within a cell. You know, it's like that's what made me go, this is a great episode. I love the idea of that. That just the whole. And
it really shows the heroicism of this woman, because she's not just taking out a killer, she's taking out a freedom. And not just a physical freedom. Like, even people who go to prison for things they believe, they can still see. They still get to read while they're in prison. They can still watch TV. They can still go to use the gym and see people and speak with people. She's losing all her freedom here because she's.
But throughout the episode, for me, the whole episode it's a woman with a disability taking control of that disability and control of her life. Now, it's a disability that nobody knows that she has, because it's not just about being blind, it's about the visions and how she deals with that. And she ends up in it's weird to say, she ends up in a much better place at the end of this. for her. She really does.
I guess.
You know, all the choices are her own, and she's happy. So, want to wrap up for this one?
Yeah, go on, do you want to go first?
When this one started, I wasn't sure, because Lily Tomlin, great, or Tomlinson, is it?
I think it's Tomlin.
Either way, I thought big name actress. But in a very conventional plot, and sometimes you get that. You know, sometimes you get a big name actor in a plot that's not standoutish. But she does some great work here, showing the kind of nature of this person with a strong personality, who's very capable. I love the interplay with Mulder, and again for the second episode, Scully's almost she's not even secondary. She's relegated to just being a bit part here, and again, it doesn't make a difference to me. I really enjoyed Mind's Eye, and it was the revelation at the end, and thinking back to it, and the idea that it left me with really kind of stuck with me. So again, everything about this episode for me was good, but the ending made it better for me, and I think I'm going to go for a 4.5.
Wow.
Again,
Okay.
it's not, but it's not. I don't feel like it's all down to that ending and the ideas that the episode has that play in my mind that I like, that makes me want to put it as high as that. I don't.
Yeah.
It's weird because I don't feel it's a 4.5 episode, but my perception
it's
of it.
like it's like the objective and the subjective thing, isn't it? It's like I like talking about it and the intricacies of it and the character play. I think it's a particularly well-written character, a strong character, and then when you throw an actor of Tomlin's caliber at it, it means she can do a lot with it. And just that relationship that builds between her and Mulder, I really like. It's like from and the twists and the turns, some obvious, but intentionally so, I think, to a degree, and then others like not so much, and just the way it makes you think about being a blind person. Like there's so many TV shows and movies where they have a blind character, and there are certain like stereotypical ways that they go about doing things, and it doesn't necessarily put you into the world of that character. Whereas this does it in a way that like it makes you appreciate and think about the world that a blind person lives in, the perspective that they have to have on the world. It makes you think about all that and what's tied up in it, and what it would actually mean to be given sight, and what it would mean if to be given sight, and then you see some heinous things. It's just there's a lot wrapped up in it where you come away from it thinking about it, and it's like it stays in the mind because of that. Like as I'm watching it, I'm kind of like, it's a good episode. I don't feel like it's a great episode, but it is a really good episode. But it is one that objectively, from a technical standpoint and everything involved, I'm like, I can't really fault it that much. But for me, I'm going to err more on the side of my subjective feelings. I'm going to go with a 4. Still a really great episode. Like in any other season, a 4 is like it's a very good episode. It's just
I think, see, having just watched it, if I went back and watched it again, I think I would take more out of it, knowing where the story goes and what her situation is. Watching it from the start, I think I would get a lot more.
Yeah. All right.
So anyway, tell me a little bit about All Souls.
All Souls. So this stars one of the Ginger Snaps sisters, Emily Perkins.
Right. Okay.
So not Ginger, but the other one. I can't remember. I think Catherine Isabella's been in it this season, hasn't she? So she was in Schizogeny, the one with the where the guy cuts the head off at the end. It's just like randomly pops up. It was a really forgettable one, with the trees, killer trees or something.
The ground swelling up.
Yeah. So I think, wasn't she in
Father
that
in
one?
the basement?
Yeah,
I think she might have been. Yeah,
I think Catherine Isabella was in that one, and then the other Ginger Snaps girl is in this one. And then at the end of the season, we get the Ginger Snaps sister's mother, Mimi Rogers, in
Mimi
it.
Rogers.
It's literally the whole cast of Ginger Snaps is in this season of the X-Files. But okay. So Emily Perkins is in it, and that's all I can remember. I can literally, no, I tell a lie. I remember there's a thunderstorm. There's a woman. She's holding her hands up to the heavens. It looks like she's in a prayer kind of mold, and I think her eyes have been burnt out the sockets. That's all I remember from it. Honestly, couldn't tell you anything else about it. Been a long time since I've seen this one. We're definitely getting into,
Yeah. Do you think we're getting into the city episodes that you don't remember as much, or you haven't seen as much?
because so back in when I was in full X-Files like fandom, season 1 to 5 was they were the seasons I'd watched, and then the movie came out, and I just watched that like constantly. Season 6 onwards, that's when it really starts to get a bit sketchy for me. There's some episodes from season 6 onwards where I've only seen like maybe 2 or 3 times, and that was way back when they came out. So yeah,
it's getting interesting.
It's getting interesting,
yeah. So we appreciate you watching or listening to us. If it's on a podcast, then please like or review, because it really helps people discover it. If it's on the YouTube channel, don't forget to leave a little comment, and one of us will get back to you at some point. And we will see you next week for All Souls. Bye.